Oh man, I'm so sorry about all this, everyone. Um, since Facebook updated all their like way of doing things in their entire system, it's really not working for me. Like I went online, I read everything. I spent 45 minutes trying to get it to work properly, and it's not working properly. So I've got this crazy lag between when I talk to you and when I actually do something. So let's see how this goes. And I even went online to find out how to change it, and it's like, just do this, and I did this, and it's not working. So I'm going to do the best I can with what I've got. I'm just going to turn a light on that's in here. There we go. Alright. So, today is OC Day. However, it's my birthday week, so I wanted to make this OC Day unique by making my characters, or one of my characters, OCing as one of, or like one of my OCs dressing up or cosplaying as one of your characters. So send me your characters and I will take one to have one of my OCs dress up as. I know during the holiday season I had done Room, and Room was dressed in a holiday costume. So I'm not going to draw another Room. It's probably going to be Mika, though I really like Larka, so I might do Larka. She's like, weird that I like this character so much. I know a lot of people don't in my comic, but I like them a lot. Can you all hear me okay? Is like everything coming through all right? Zeta. As in Zeta Gundam. I'm fine, good, thank you so much, Zeno. Zoo! How's it going, man? How you doing? Okay, so I guess, like, both of you send me your reference shots, and I will see which one that will fit my character the best. Like I said, I'm either going to do Mika, because I always do Mika. She's like my promotional gal. But I would like to do Larka, and this one's Larka here. She's a Verilic, so it's like a species that kind of seems like an angel, but is not an angel. They're kind of like wasps, let's say. And her halo over her head is actually a hard drive. And they're very technologically advanced, and their bodies are just considered containers. Containers for something else. But they're mostly forms of energy, so all their energy is being held up by this body, and they can usually change their body to an extent, not a lot. But, I mean, little things like hair, that's pretty much it. Clothing. The clothes that they wear, because technically a lot of the times the clothes they're wearing is their body. Except for when you see her in this picture where she's wearing a school uniform, and the school uniform is actually something attached to her to give her that look. Suppose the same reference. Okay, hold on. Let me see here. I'm going to go into all my... DeviantArt, DeviantArt, DeviantArt. I thought one of you guys would have sent it to me on DA. Maybe on Patreon? Let me just refresh this. Nope. Maybe on Facebook? No. Check DA notes. If my computer didn't freeze, I could have showed you this character. You could have made your character dress. I can send you the link on DA if you want. Send me on DA. That's where I get everything. Either DA, Facebook, or Patreon. Whatever it is that you're a part of, send it to me over on there. Wrong button. Alright, let's go back here. Here we go. Open that. We got one here with a giant watermark on it. Xeno, I don't know if the watermark is that important. And a lot of my artwork is original stuff, and I never watermark any of it. The thing is that in today's day and age, if someone's going to rip you off, they're just going to do it, and they're going to change it 30%, watermark or not. And if people are going to sell your artwork at other conventions, they're just going to do it until they get caught. I mean, if people are willing to rip off artists, like really popular artists, I think I remember there's one convention I went to where I saw like the cover to Spider-Man issue 300 and this guy's selling it like as a print, and I was just like, are you kidding me? That's like the most iconic, one of the most iconic pictures ever. But they were selling it until they got kicked out of the convention for having sold it. So some people, because somebody probably told on them, makes sense, you're at a convention, you crazy fool. Oh, Zevel again. So we got Zevel, and then this character. Oh boy. Alright, 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 let's do this. Sent you a link on DA. All good, we're good. Okay, let's open this. Alright, so I'm definitely going to do Larka because I really like Larka. Oh, right, I got to grab... let me just copy. Paste. Alright, we got this guy again. I have seen him before. We've done, it was at the beginning of December, I drew a sketch of him, fused with another character. Alright. Now, Larka's got a lot of personality. A ton of personality. That's part of why I like her. Which makes me, like, I love... Okay, one of my favorite X-Men characters is Emma Frost. And, sorry, I'm just concentrating to get my pose down. Kind of want to axe it. Anyway, I really like Emma Frost a lot, so I wanted to make a character in my comic that felt like Emma. Okay, let's do something like this. Only, oh no, I drew it all on the same layer as this. Okay, hold on. And so she's got like this real mean demeanor to her, but she can be really sweet too. Plus, not like, well, like Emma, she's not like, she's gray. Everybody in my comic is pretty gray. I don't really have any good guys or bad guys. Speaking of hard drives, Starla has something called a heart drive, which is actually her. For some reason, it's located in her vessel behind where the stomach would be. Well, let's do something like this. I'm going to have to draw over this a couple times because I do not like... That's like a horrible rough sketch. But I guess, hold on, we're going to put this like this. She's got a real doll face, this girl, too. Like, really small features, small lips, big eyes, little nose. Very dolly. huge bend. She's also very large, but well, large, like yeah, large and tall for very tall for her species. I say large just because my species is measured in meters, not in feet. So she's about 8 meters, 8 and 1/3, I'd say, meters in height. No, I don't like this. This is alright. Bring that down. Bring it out. Just very long legs. I don't know how well we're going to see her legs in a photo like this. Let's just start off by getting her body type out there. I've actually drawn a picture of Larka before, but I think it was like 2 years ago when I was doing, like, just starting off my live streams. Ooh, so I started watching a bunch of Macross. My brother and I are huge Macross, but, well, I'm a huge Macross fan, and my brother's kind of become a huge Macross fan. Like, he's wanted one of the Veritech Masterpiece style toys by Bandai for a super long time, but they're crazy expensive. So, like, he never, like, both of us never really pulled the trigger on them. And recently he's like, hey, we can get them used. So we're both like, yeah. I don't like the hand like that at all. It doesn't seem like she would put her hand on herself either. I know my Larka. Ooh, this is not a good eraser. There we go. Let's grab this one. So yeah, Larka would usually bend her arm out like this. There we go. It feels much more sassier, which is more her style. She's very sassy, this girl. Let's bring the elbow up a little more, like about here, so I can bring this out here like that, and bring this in a little. There we go. Something like that looks about right. Let's get her thumb in here like that. Since you've seen Zevil before, do you want me to give you another one of my OCs? This one I don't really draw him properly though. Today I'm really going to try and draw proper Zeta reference. Yeah, reference sheets are fun to draw. Like like my Larka one that I keep showing. I love making things, like, I'm so proud of myself for having made these like 2-3 years back. Well, I think maybe like 4 years back now. Anyway, like, I made them and it helps enormously when drawing my comic book. But yeah, if you have if you happen to have a different character, send them over if you want. Otherwise, I'll work with Zevil. I don't mind. So like, they both seem okay. She seems to have like low cut, so I can give her like a low cut pair, like belt like this. It's gonna be interesting drawing my character wearing like regular pants and stuff. Then yeah, she's got like little ski mask at the top, but I'm gonna wait. I don't want to put too much detail in while I'm waiting for Zoo to bring in his other character. But I will do the belt. Yeah, having a Verilic wearing actual clothing. It's weird. It's weird, I say. Well, weird for me. Like, thinking about it. Alright, let's get her little doll face drawn out while waiting for the other reference to come in, because obviously this isn't going to change. Got that cute doll face. Let's put that in there. But she will get made fun of, because she's so hardcore, this character. Like, punching through buildings. Hardcore. And yet her face is so, like, delicate looking, and I gave her such delicate features. Should I have her looking away, or should I have her looking at us, the viewer? I think I'm gonna have her looking away. Like, she's too good to look at you. Like, let's do something like this. Maybe erase some of this so that I know more about what I'm doing when I clean it up and do my nicer sketch. There we go, something like that. I'm just gonna bring it up a little bit. It's kind of low. Maybe about here? Yeah. Alright, and then we can grab the mouth. Bring it down just a little bit, over a little bit. Like that. That seems alright. Zoo, you didn't want to send me another one of your reference pictures? Well, if you're not going to send one, I'm going to do Zevel. So let's see. She's going to have her hard drive because she can't function without that. We'll put it about there. She's got her super long elf ears, or elf style ears. Try to make each one like the length of her head. So like this is a little too long here. Make it a little wider too. Let's give her jacket. Put like a zipper on it. She's got like a hat and some goggles, so let's give her this hat. The goggles, I'm actually going to make it like the goggles that my Verelix wear. Maybe I'll make it just a little wider, I mean a little higher. This cuts in here. And I have like this little piece here, and then little spiky things that fly out here like that and that. There we go. Save. I sent it. You can decide if you want to go with Zevel or my other character. Alright, I'll go check him out. Here we go. Oh, is it the merfolk or is it the guy with the sword? When I say merfolk, she could be a snake. I'm not sure. Originally, Zeta wore the exact same outfit as Zeno, but with purple instead of blue. I changed it later based on Blaze fielding. Hmm. Sword. Okay. Let's see here. Uh, that would definitely change the vibe of this drawing. Both of these characters have, like Zevel, both have open jackets. I think I'm going to keep Zevel for today. Just because I like his bandaging on his hands. I think that's cool. And I like the robot hand aspect too. So I'm going to try and like merge those together. So like let's give her, let's start off by giving her her regular jacket. After this, now what I'm going to do is, that's just to remind me to draw zippers. Alright, so I'll draw some zippers there, and no, that's fine the way it is. Just going to have a bandage here. More bandages. And now, plating for a robot arm. There we go. Open shirt like Zevel. However, her skin color isn't the same. She actually doesn't really, well, she has kind of a skin pigmentation. I don't know if I'm going to color this. We'll see. It'd be fun. I've gotten pretty far, and the drawing is simplistic enough that I might be able to get it done in time if I really wanted to color it in. But we'll see. No promises. So yeah, it's my birthday this week. I'm going to be 35 years old. Old man. 9.5 years to go before I finish my entire comic book series. It's taking forever, but it's well worth it. Like, I'm almost done one of my pages today. Like, I'm gonna finish it later today, and I'm pretty excited about it. It's gonna be awesome when it's done. Like, not just the page today, but I mean like the whole comic. Let's see, like little design lines going in there. He seems to have like a little design of him. It looks like the Sense design. Because she's got some common sense. And that works for me. Because I was hoping there'd be like a little logo somewhere. Because Verlix... Well, actually, do they? No, they don't usually, but I can give her earrings. Mokopians usually like to wear a lot of bling. But I'll give this one some bling as well. Why not? There we go. She's starting to look like a pirate with her hair and in this hat like this. Nope, 35 is still very young. That's true. I'm hoping that my comic can start being popular. Oh man, she needs her AGU. Definitely. Alright, hold on. Let me just move her ever so slightly to the right, like this. So it makes her a little off-center, so that way I can throw her AGU up here. So all of her species have this thing called an AGU. It's like this little thing that floats around them, and I'm not really going to talk too much about it. Whatever. Why not? It doesn't matter. So it allows, because Verilix can float. All of them can float, but they can't really fly in a direction that they want to fly in. And the AGUs allow them to do that. It allows them to push them in whatever direction they want. Because gravity doesn't affect them. This race is unaffected by gravity. But thanks to this AGU, which is not using gravity. It's kind of like a push and pull, but like, anyway, I'm not going to talk too much about it. I'm not going to get too much into scientific details because at one point my comic is made to be so advanced that it shouldn't make sense. It's got to almost feel like magic. All right, let's start it up. So our AGU allows her to fly in whatever direction she wants. It kind of creates like little fields around them too, like well, the Verilix. Like it does all sorts of fun stuff. And all my Verilix work with things called tools. It's kind of like items that seem to appear out of nowhere, and depending on what they're proficient in or what their memory capacity is, they're allowed to use, or they're permitted to use different types of tools. But all of them have an AGU, and depending again on their memory capacity, that's going to define how many AGUs they have when they grow up. Most Verilix have 2. Maybe some of them get 3, and some of them will get, like, very rarely you have some that'll have 4, but it's really rare that they have 4. It takes a lot of processing power on top of them doing everything else that they do. I like it big like that. There we go. No, oh, no. Let's erase this a little. I'm going to grab this eye here. I'm just going to copy it over. There we go. Seta's job with the Interpol amounts get a free house and sentient motorcycle in Hong Kong until we pay you to trespass and kidnap a noted criminal. So since they are not affected by gravity, then that could possibly mean they wouldn't be able to move faster or more freely through the air if there was no gravity, because they can do that anyways? Yeah. But it's kind of like they can, like, they're not affected by gravity, but they can choose to be affected by certain types of gravities. So let's say they're on a planet. The planet's gravity doesn't need to affect them, but it can affect them if they want, and it can affect them to a different extent. So this allows them to walk around on, let's say they come to Earth, they can walk around on Earth like a regular human could, but like a human that's, you know, like 8 meters tall. They wouldn't have a problem with that. And if they were to jump in the air, they could not be affected by the gravity, so they could just go off into space if they wanted to. But they can't go in any specific direction. They can't change their direction unless they can feel certain gravities that will allow them to go in these directions. And because they're not so instantaneous or they're not so strong, that means that if they're flying, they can't just change on a dime. Like if you're on the planet Earth and they fly up into the air and then they decide to float there, the only thing they could do is go back down. They can't really like move forward or move backwards unless there's like wind pushing them. But in space, they wouldn't have that. So there's multiple gravities in space, but none of them are sudden enough to make them move around the way that they would want to freely. So that's why they have this orb. And Macopians, for the most part, are born with something like this orb, but in their body. And Macopians are the other race in my comic. There's 3 races. There's Macopians, Verelix, and Hedonates. Okay, let's just make this a little more rounded. There we go. Gotta really give her that doll face. It's very important with her character development. Kind of has to do with why she's so hardcore. Well, a little bit. I just like the contrast myself. Oh, dang, that was dumb of me. I should have made another layer. Oh, I did! Yay! Well done, Eric. Good to know at 35 you're starting to learn your lessons. Alright, we don't need that. No. I'm going to save. Make another layer. And aside from this gravity thing that my Verelix have going for them, they're also incredibly strong. Well, again, you know, it's so weird because, like, I say it's incredibly strong, but it's just compared to, like, human standards. So, like, I've mentioned it a few times, but imagine all of them are like Superman. You know, they can all pretty much, they have, like, that kind of strength and, like, that unsurmountable level of power. Well, Superman's not unsurmountable, but they have very unsurmountable level of power and things that wouldn't seem to make total sense all the time. But it's so beyond that, and most races, like, are like that. Well, a lot of them are, like, yeah, I guess they're all like that. So they all, imagine, like, everyone's like Superman. So at one point, no one's like Superman. There, that's the best way to play it, to say it. What layer is this on? Yeah, okay, I can work with that. I'm just gonna copy this ear so I can do it twice. Let's put that here. I'm not gonna see this, so I don't need to worry about it. Let me add. I think it's about time I get on to doing her hair. The hair's really gonna cover a lot, so I think I should do it now before I get like too deep into this. There we go. It's really curly hair. Well, like, I guess wavy is a better way to put it. Alright, let's fuse all of this and start erasing. Just gonna erase this, erase all this. Do not erase the eyes. One thing that I don't do is I don't erase the eyes. Or the eyebrows. Like I do, but I don't. Like I'm gonna erase it but at a lower opacity, so that way you can still see it through the hair. I used to erase it completely, and at one point my wife was like, hey, maybe you shouldn't erase it completely. And I thought, alright, let's try it out, and I liked it, so I kind of kept it like that. So now I would lower the opacity. Let's get rid of my sketch for a moment. And then with this, oh no, that we're gonna see. Let me just bring this in like that. So I do that. Do it here. All here. Here. Oh boy, here. Here. And here. There we go. Now I increase the opacity to max it out again because I don't like this. Let me just draw in like extra hair here. I think that this is the way to go. Same with this side. The eyelash comes out too far. Let's erase a lot of that so I can make this one come out a little differently than the other side. There we go. This character is cool. Nice. Thanks. She's kind of an antagonist in my comic. Alright, let's give her AOS glasses. Or shades. Come on. Well, actually, that's redundant because AOS has the word shade in it. It's like an abbreviation to the name of the actual tool. It's like I was saying earlier, these creatures have tools that they utilize. And this would definitely constitute as one of those. Let me just get my reference for my tools. Come on, where are you, tool reference? Usually I have it at the very bottom. No, it's not there. I'm always so careful with all my stuff, and I always keep things like separated very well. So this means that something happened, and I was rushing through looking for it at one point. Oh, there it is. It's at the top of everything. That's weird and annoying. Oh well. I knew it. I knew there's a little difference here. Let's bring this in. Bring that in. It's okay if it's not perfect. Come on. There we go. On this side. There we are. Normally this piece goes in the ear, but I'm going to make it over here so it looks like it's on her head, even though Technically, that wouldn't work like that. I don't care. It's gonna look the part, and that's what I want. There. Now let's give her something like that. Now I can erase this. Ooh, not completely. Let's erase it the same way I erased the other thing. There we go. Let's make it a little bigger than that. There we go. Come on. There we are. Alright, back to working on her. It's too big, that brush. Too small. There we go, this should be just right. So anyway, I started watching, rewatching the old Robotech show. If you drew some new characters for a new manga you were about to make, would you mind if, let's say, the manga company wanted to hire artists to help you to redraw your characters for perfection? Or I should say, what they consider to be perfect? I don't know. I don't know about that. I just want them to look like a Saturday morning cartoon. Like, a lot of my coloring and stuff like that has to do with that. There's so many different styles of manga artwork. I guess it would depend on the artist that they hired and how they drew them. Like, I'm always open to seeing other people's interpretations of my stuff, but at one point, you know, like, the way I draw it is the way that I want them to look. But I wouldn't mind having like I said, I wouldn't mind having other artists take a shot at my stuff. Um, but again, I don't know. I don't know. Like, I wouldn't mind. The thing is, I wouldn't want them to change certain elements of my characters. But if they're just redrawing it in their own style, I don't think I'd have a problem with that. But there's so many like different art styles. Like, I'm asking because I heard that artists that are foreigners in Japan get walled on if they divert from the art style that the Japanese are used to. Oh yeah, that's... Well, I don't plan to move to Japan, and I'm gonna try and make this popular here. There's more than enough. Because the thing about Japan, especially with foreigners, is they're not fans of them, but they'll make tons of stuff to sell and produce to them. But at the same time, they want to sell and produce to their own people, so they're going to make it so that it works for their own people at the same time. It's weird. So my comic is really, even the way I write my comic, for sure it wouldn't work in Japan. Like, I might have like a lot of sexy ladies in it, which is one thing that works in Japan. But even though my women are pretty sexy, I'm not misogynistic. And I know that's a real mean thing to say about poor Japan. But I've seen too many things about Japan that is incredibly misogynistic. Even when they're trying to be cool, they're not cool. So it's like Japan is like on one side full of love and so amazing, and on the other side it's just awful. And I try to balance things out quite a bit. So I do draw sexy ladies, but a lot of my guys will be like, well, it depends, because beauty's in the eye of the beholder, you know. So all my women are, first of all, like, very curvy. It's rare I'll draw lolly style stuff, and I know Japan loves lolly style stuff. My slice of life story writing would work to an extent in Japan, but at another point it's not going to work at all, and I know it wouldn't. I know it's not. It's just not their style. So when I made my comic, I didn't make it thinking, oh, I could maybe end up taking it to Japan. I really didn't think that. I thought the first thing I would translate my comic into is French. And so it's in English. Then after in English, I would like for it to be in French. And then after that, I don't know. I'd have to think about it. But my main market isn't a Japanese market. It's the market that I have here in Canada. And then US, I guess, kind of goes with that. Because for sure foreign artists are going to get walled in Japan. They have their certain style that they like, but it's not just their certain style. And they're not just misogynistic, they're also very xenophobic. So if you're from another part of the world and you show up to Japan trying to do what they do, they're going to be like, no, you can never do it as good as us, so we're going to hire other people to do it. Definitely they would do that. That makes perfect sense. Because they think that the way they do everything is the right, proper way, when it isn't always, or it doesn't leave room for like things to be new and different either, by the way. That's another thing I really noticed recently when people are like have recently been posting tons of con photos of like shoots in Japan where they're like, oh yeah, the Japanese finally showing us how to cosplay, and I just don't agree. Like I looked at so many of their cosplays where I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I've seen like American women, French women, German women, and even men do some of these cosplays so that they're so much more accurate. And I think the problem that you get when you're in Japan doing things, and I'm just using this as my base example for my drawing. I'm getting to a point here. So they like they're trying to show the world this is how you cosplay, and well, they're all Japanese, so there's so much diversity, so much diversity in their own anime where you'll have blonde hair, blue eyes, pale skin, or you'll have black characters, rarely. That's another problem I have with Japanese stuff, is that there's almost never black characters. I think my comic has like, and my comic involves aliens, okay? And my aliens, for the most part, are all sorts of different colored skin, all sorts of different skin colors. But I mean, I have like black, I have red, I have blue, I have green, I have everything. So whenever you have like black characters in Japan, they're not really done well. But that's not the point. The point is that having somebody cosplay as a black character in Japan, it's never going to look perfectly accurate, right? So it'll be their interpretation, and it's always got to be their interpretation. Always. Because they're not black. So they'll never be able to do a perfectly accurate one. And so that's why I'm like, Japan showing the rest of the world how to do it. I'm kind of like, yeah, wow, that's like, I take that with a huge, like the biggest grain of salt ever. And I just don't buy it. I find that like I've seen so many better cosplays that, you know, they did have some nice ones at the past show. It's just, again, not as nice as the ones that you'll see at San Diego Comic-Con. That's for damn sure. Even the anime ones fall short. Like there's a person dressed up as Ruby that I saw, and they're like, yeah, super nice Ruby, and it's like, it looked cheap. Cheap in comparison. Man, I feel so intense saying these sort of things. But anyway, so here's the point that I'm getting at. I could draw perfectly the way that they would want, but they would never admit to it because I'm like a white person from Canada. So what the hell do I know? So if they like my story and my ideas, see, I would rather take my story and my ideas to Netflix and then have them hire an animator to be able to make a show out of it than go to Japan for this. I would never want to go to Japan for it. And then, oddly enough, having an animation company given to me through Netflix would most likely go through Japan or China to be able to do all my drawings on my characters, and then they'd be forced to draw my characters the way I draw them. Plus, anime art style changes so much over the years. Like, they have, like, I find every couple of years there's, like, a staple where everyone's like, yeah, we're all drawing like this now. So, like, a lot of shows resemble one another in their style. And then, like, 10 years later, it changes. All right, let's actually add the zipper here. But what I'm saying isn't, like, definitive, you know, like, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of Japanese people that are really great, and I don't mean, like, ones that have experienced cultures outside of Japan. I really mean the ones that are just there, and that's what they, like, they're just, man, I don't understand why it's so rough there for things like this. But, like, even in their shows, you know, like, I watched so much anime, and I think a really good example of when I was just like, oh, god damn it, Japan, I'm so freaking annoyed with you, is when I watched the anime Goblin Slayer. Like, and when I say Goblin Slayer, for those of you that know what this is, a lot of you will jump straight to the rape and be like, oh yeah, all the women get raped in that, but I mean, the men get eaten. My point is that men don't get raped by female goblins, so that's weird. You'd think that would be the easiest way to propagate I mean, capturing a woman and raping her and then waiting 9 months for her to come to term is ridiculous. But you know what? Maybe that's not even how they have kids. I don't know. They don't really talk about it that much, but they just anyway. So whatever. The fact is that Goblin Slayer. So they go on at the beginning about how the strongest woman in the series is like this. Well, the strongest person in the series is like this woman that's got like this blindfold on her and everything, and she looks kind of badass. Then when you finally see her, she can't fight goblins, so she hires the Goblin Slayer to do it. And she can't fight goblins because, lo and behold, she was raped by goblins when she was younger. Now, this is fine at this point. Even at this point in the show, I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Like, if I had gone through a traumatic, fucked up event like that, I would hire somebody to deal with these smaller fry for most, but for me, fucking ridiculous, and I couldn't deal with it. But my problem is that once the Goblin Slayer shows up and does his job, she then has this nice conversation with him about how maybe, you know, like women could, no, not maybe, she's like women could never be as good as men, and how it's like no matter how good she is and how she beat the main demon lord and saved millions of people, it doesn't really matter because she could never be as good as this Goblin Slayer. And I'm just like watching this and I'm thinking, damn, like not only is this girl super strong because, you know, something horrible had happened to her, but she overcame it and she became one of the strongest characters. They don't even bring that up, because that's not how Japanese people write. And it's just depressing. It's really depressing. It's depressing that nobody shakes the cages down there enough. Like, I don't know. You know what? I can't say that. I have no idea. I have no idea who's shaking cages down there or who's trying to change things up for the better. But it's just, it's something that infuriates me. Like, I grew up obsessing over characters like, I've already said this before. Whatever, I'm just going to repeat myself. I grew up obsessing over characters like Ripley from Aliens and, dang, what's her name? I'm like just blanking out for some reason right now. But yeah, Ripley from Aliens and like Sarah Connor from Terminator. Like, I grew up on those movies as a kid. So for me, it was never a question if women are capable or not. I was always like, oh my god, they're fucking badass. Everyone can be badass if they work real hard at it in life. It doesn't matter, like the sex, color, none of that matters. So I grew up with that kind of mentality based off of the films that I watched. So when I see other shows and different kind of cultures that are like, nah, I'm like, what do these people know? Like, it legitimately makes it feels like if like you put a certain class in a huge amount of oppression, then yeah, they won't grow up being as badass. Why? Because you didn't give them the chance to be. Like, you're not giving them the same options as everyone else. So I don't think that's fair. Yeah, I'm really ranting. But I'm always open to other people's opinions on this matter. It's just that I have yet to hear a solid opinion that was, like, well-grounded. You know, like, people will always give me, like, yeah, well, in the animal kingdom, women are the ones that get pregnant and stay at home. Well, in the animal kingdom, the Black Widow has the more poison than the male. The mantis female eats the male. Most females are a lot more aggressive than males. Some of them grow to be much larger as well. So it's like, yeah, okay, like bring up like one or like it's just everything's pretty balanced in the animal kingdom. It's just the human race that there's so many people that don't allow it to be balanced. So many cultures that don't allow it to be balanced, which is just too bad. But what do I know? I'm just a 35-year-old Canadian. Let's make this a little wider, I think. Bring it really out like that. There we go. Bigger wrist. So yeah, all the women in my comic are crazy badass. Like, I make them all very, very powerful. Like, the most powerful creature in my comic is a woman. But there's another powerful creature that's a male, but it's so different. Like, my comic has a lot of rock, paper, scissors effects. But it's not to say that just because this male can trump this one woman that like another one can't trump him, because there's definitely one that can. So like everyone is just fully capable and able to do things. That's just how it is in my comic. I have a lot of ethnic diversity. Well, it's not fit. Like, even that, I say it's ethnic diversity. They're all aliens. Like, I really push hardcore that they're all extraterrestrials, and I make my Verilix Caucasian-esque, but they're still like a little pale to be just regular Caucasian, but it's true that they are very Caucasian. I'm not trying to imply anything either in my comic about like race, although there's a lot that has to do with race in my comics, so it's weird to say that I'm not. I just mean race on the human spectrum. My point in my comic is it's much more universal. Let's go with that. Crazy wild conversations today. Anyway, the way I see it is to go back to the initial conversation, or the initial subject matter, is that I don't ever picture Japanese people taking over my comic and drawing it in their style. Just because I didn't make it in a way that they're going to like, and not just the style, the writing especially. And I do not want them touching my writing, ever. My writing is done a certain way so that it has a certain value to it, like the theme, that I know that with their own values, not all of them, I know, not all of them, for sure not. It's just that, let's just say if you watch like every new anime that came out this year, I would say that maybe like, let's say we have 100 new, no, 100's a lot. Let's say we got like 20. For sure that's low, but whatever. 20 new anime, one. If you're lucky, one out of the 20 anime they come out with every year is going to be the exception to the rule. And it's very disappointing to see something like that. Let's go like this. There we go, that's better. And my anime would definitely be the exception to the rule. 100%. Like I said, I draw tons of sexy ladies in it, but I do, whenever I can, over-sexualize my men. Well, depending on taste. That's what I was talking about earlier. Like, I draw my guys in like real swimmer bodies. I don't have any like hairy guys. I don't have what else? I don't have, well, super over the top muscly characters. I do have some, but they're very monster looking. Whereas a lot of my women look like women. Like human ones. Like they've got more anthropomorphic elements to them. That's better. I don't like this. I don't like that either. And I don't draw lollies. It's very rare. If ever I draw a lolly-like character, well, it usually because it's a commission from back in the day when I used to take a lot of commissions like that. So either it's a commission, I don't have like many timid women in my comic either. Anime is just riddled with timid women. Everyone's timid. They're not able to throw her solid punches. Like, that's the thing. You see, like, they'll say, oh yes, this is a strong and powerful woman. We'll see her do really well in the battlefield in this episode, but she's just not able to speak her mind. But she's able to do everything else, right? Like, no. No, not for me. Like I said, I try to imagine all my characters being like that Ripley from Aliens back in the day, or that Sarah Connor. So I usually write them accordingly to be kind of like that. Alright, let's erase this. I got this belt in here. There we go. I don't think we need my sketch anymore. Her arm's a little long. Like, now that I remove the sketch, I'm like, eesh, just a little. Just bring that up a little bit like that. There we go. But another thing about my art style is I've noticed that going to a lot of Comic Cons and anime conventions like Otakuthon and stuff, that I don't know, I like Otakuthon and things like that. I do really well. Anime conventions in general, I do really well. So like I sell a lot of my comic. I even sell some of my original character art, which is super awesome. Definitely gotta draw her hard drive. Let me just pop that in. I guess I'll have to use a yellow. Let's see here. Something like this. Yeah, it should be alright. Let me just lower the opacity down a little on this. Like 73 should be good. Hold on. Yes. This isn't turning out the way I was hoping it would. because I'm drawing it with a white background. This is very not easy. Alright, let's try it now. Bring this down here. Blur, Gaussian blur. There we go, let's do like a big one like that. So just a little. Alright, let's get rid of that. And now I gotta fix up the glasses because I forgot something here. But yeah, for those of you out there that are looking to make their own comic, remember the first thing, even before you start drawing it, who is your target audience? Like, it's one thing to make a comic for yourself. That would be a thing. That's your target audience, is you. So then you want to attract more people that are like you. That works. It could be Japan. Your target audience could be Japan. That's who you want to draw for. You want to move to Japan, you want to meet people in Japan, and your target audience is 100% that place. So if it's that place, you're going to have to write something that's going to attract that kind of culture. And if you want it to be popular in Europe, you got to same thing. And it's the same thing everywhere, like America. And then you got to think like, see, like, because my target audience is, which I've realized over the course of working on my comic for the past couple of years, is genuinely, you know, sorry I'm late. Oh, that's all good, Robert. I'm actually, man, you're lucky I've been on for like an extra 20 minutes here. We can hang out a bit. Just finishing up here, actually. But yeah, like, my target audience for me is usually between the age of 14 to 21, and like, this is what I've noticed, the most people that buy my comic, they're that age, between 14 and 21. And then it's kind of a mixed bag between well, genders and non-genders, a bit of everything, because my comic has a bit of everything. So I find that even there are certain people that'll look at my comic and be like, oh, I don't really like manga and I'm not really into this. But they'll read my flyer that I give out to people. Do I have one here I can show you all? Usually I do. Yeah, here we go. This is an older one, but I can show you an older one. So I usually give out like a flyer like this, and it has like a little explanation about what my comic Blythe is all about. And so they'll read that, and then a lot of times they'll actually come back just because of my story and be like, this sounds awesome, so I want to read this. And my story is very slice of life. Rom-com, mix of all of that, with tons of other elements all mixed in between it. Because when I grew up, I had a lot of first day of schools, so I try to, well, I definitely incorporate that into like everything. Like, every time I'm writing, I'll incorporate elements that I've had growing up, going to a different school. It was not fun all the time. And sometimes it was super fun. First drawing of the year. ETM 20. Alright. I would love to color this in, but it's just not going to happen. Let's delete my sketch. So yeah, having a lot of first days of school. I grew up having to deal with also like I'm English. Well, I'm bilingual, so I speak French and English, and I kind of grew up having to deal with the at first the good side, where I grew up like in the Maritimes in Canada, and for those of you that don't know, like a lot of things down there are bilingual, and they're very open to bilingualism, speaking French, speaking English, it's a lot of times they'll mix up the two languages and speak half and half. And I love that about the Maritimes, and nobody cares. Nobody's angry, nobody gets frustrated about it. They're just like, yeah, as long as we can communicate with one another, we're all good. Then I spent the second half of my life in Quebec, where it was a nightmare, and I understand where they're coming from. I get it. Like, they don't want to lose their language. They're having a hard time. The rest of Canada says we're bilingual, but really only this one little section of Canada, and not Quebec, but this one little section of Canada, which is what I'm telling you about the Maritimes, are really bilingual. And then Quebec is really French. They want it to be French. There's French, and then there's English, and it's very frustrating because there's like a lot of animosity between the two. So, and then you have the rest of Canada that refuse to learn how to speak French, or they'll hate French for no reason, which I never understood that, like it's just a language. I mean, why wouldn't you want to learn it? Why wouldn't you want to be like, yeah, Canada, we're actually a bilingual country. All of our schools are bilingual schools, not French, not English. It's half and half, split down the middle. Like, when you grow up with that, then all the hate kind of goes away. And Quebec is so intense with things wanting to be French because the rest of Canada lies and says they're bilingual when they're not. Like, if the rest of Canada actually was, then Quebec wouldn't complain about anything. And anyway, it's kind of ridiculous. Like, all this just to say that, like, when I moved to Quebec, it was very negative, and I had a lot of negative things happen to me, and I got in, like, a lot of fights and stupid things like this just because I spoke French or just because I'm English. So it was too bad. Anyway, I put a lot of that concept in my comic book. Alright, let me just save. This is Larka X Cosplay OC. There we go. And after doing this drawing session today, I'm going to eat, and then I'm going to draw the rest of the night. I'm working on my comic. I'm going to for sure finish 2 pages I'm working on right now, and then I'm going to hopefully get the sketching done for like my next 2 pages. But I don't know, I still have a lot of work to do, so we'll see. Alright, y'all, I think I'm pretty much done here. Nice, thank you. Ooh, actually, let's just do her eyes. I have to do her eyes. It'd be crazy if I didn't. Like, Verlic eyes are so unique. Let's see, so we start off with like a dark blue. Whatever. Oh no, I'm not gonna draw it in there. Alright, now I grab some yellow. Different brush. Let's move her face so it's more like on a proper angle. Oh, that's definitely gotta go on top of all the line art. So yeah, today was quite the live stream. I'm a very opinionated person, but I'm very open and easy. Usually, I'm very easy to get along with unless people are very offensive. I mean, it depends, like, the way I see it is that if you have like your own opinions in life and you're able to defend them, and you can defend them really well, I'll listen to you. But the real theme in life is, treat other people as you want to be treated. So at the end of the day, if your opinion is hurting a whole lot of people for no reason, I have a hard time with that. But I grew up reading a lot of Captain America comics, a lot of Superman, and so I kind of have this sense of self-righteousness I grew up with that's really intense for some people. Because of that, like, you know, I don't still hang out with a lot of the friends I used to hang out with when I was younger. Let's put it that way. I get on people's nerves pretty easily sometimes. Where are we? Here we go. I want to make that a little darker. I feel like that blue's not dark enough. But it's to be expected. You know, like when you have a voice that you want to, like, when you have a strong voice ever, like, and you like to shake some cages or really push your opinion onto things, you're gonna grow up having a hard time. There we go. Oh yeah, I was gonna put my pen away, but I realized that I own all these little amiibos, and so I have this really cute amiibo of Aegis here. I know it's pronounced Aegis, the word, but in the dubbing to Persona 3, they say Aegis. So take that, shitty dubs that ruin everything. And I put it in here like this now, because I think that's super cute. I'm gonna put you away. There we go. So I got this sweet thing holding my pen now. I love it. Alright. So today we got to draw my character from Blythe Larka. And she is mashed with 2 OCs. So, let's end this. Here we go. Thus ends my live streaming session for today. Yet the real challenge begins, listening to my 2-minute long advertisement on me, myself, and I. All links mentioned will be in the description below this video. At a young age, I realized that sleep was for suckers and I could get way more done by avoiding it altogether. Now that I'm older, all I want to do is sleep. I work like crazy, and with your epic support of $3 a month, that's like... Jeez, that's like the price of, I don't know, like a small pack of toilet paper when it's on special. No, that's not fair. Toilet paper is super useful all the time. Alright, so it's like a bag of chips. That's like a bag of chips. You not only get access to high-quality files with all the sketches or pinups I've completed each month, but you give me a few more minutes of rest each day. And I can't possibly express my gratitude for this, so how about praise from a local celebrity? I totally agree with you, Skywarp. That was Skywarp, Transformer. They're good at what they do. Some people are into old retro things, and you know exactly who you are. Sorry, I'm still laughing at my Skywarp bit. I was trying to think of things to say or like make up, and then I was like, I'm just gonna have him flying by. So thank you so much for supporting me. I appreciate it. Now hold up a second. For those of you that like old retro things, I have them all up my Gumroad, and after that, I also have my comic book. It's named Blythe. It's all about the first day of school for a bunch of extraterrestrials, and I love this comic because I put my heart and soul into it, and I want you to love it too. And for, like, you know, that $3 a month support thing, really, like, all that money goes towards that. I'm not even joking. Like, I just save it up on my Patreon, and then at one point I'm like, okay, time to take it out and pay for the convention, or help pay for printing costs on my comic. So every little bit and every person that supports me really, really goes a long way. Now I'm going to let you in on a secret. I have a blurry photograph of my kids from the future. I wrote this down, so apparently I must have it. And I'm not allowed to tell you how I got it. And with each person that subscribes and likes my YouTube videos, the photo becomes more and more clear. So help out not only me, but little Leo, Raph, Casey, and April at having an existence. Those are my future kids, I guess. By hitting that subscribe and that like button. You know who else is super important to the rise of my future empire? Did I say empire? I meant friendly, magical friends of the fun future. Well, it's you. Do you like sketching or drawing? What about making awesome costumes or cosplays? Well, you do some fan-related stuff to my comic Blythe, and I'll assure you a seat in my future galactic foothold, as well as advertising your fan stuff on all my social medias. Did I say galactic foothold? I meant Adventure Friends Infinity Team. Well, I have to go now, but don't forget that you deserve to have an awesome rest of your day. As we all do. Awesome rest of the day for everyone. For everyone, I say. If I had superpowers, that would be a sweet one. I would just give that ability for everyone to have a super good day. Alright, well, take care, everyone. It was awesome drawing with you, as usual, and I'll see you next Tuesday. Be seeing ya.